Hello, Rob here, and thank you very much for checking out R&B Reviews. The summer blockbuster season is officially over, and so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to create a video where I give off a list of what I thought were the best movies of the summer, and then I'm going to do a video on what I thought were the 5 disappointing movies of the summer. And I'm really excited to go back to this format because when Brenda and I first started this channel, we used to do summer lists, and then we kind of got away from it. Like, I would do videos where I would pick a best, a worst, and a disappointing movie. But this year, I decided to go back to the list format because I kind of miss it, and I think it's a load of fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the 9 movies that I thought were the best movies of the summer. Alright, number 9 on my list of the best movies of the summer was The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yes, it's overstuffed with subplots, and I will concede that it's not as good as the first Amazing Spider-Man movie, but what I liked about it was I thought that the action scenes and the fights were a big improvement over the first film. Mark Webb, I complained in the first video, I thought was not good with action scenes. I thought they were a little bit of a letdown, but here he really stepped up his game. And I also like that this movie had very good dramatic moments, like conversations that Peter Parker has with all the characters from, his Aunt May, his girlfriend Gwen Stacy, and of course Harry Osborn. I really like that we got to know a little bit more about them and we got to spend time with them. And I really like that Spider-Man talks to the people that he saved. In the Tobey Maguire movies, he didn't really do it that often. He would save them and then go off and fly off. I like that Andrew Garfield's interpretation of the character tries to be a little bit more involved in his community in that aspect with the people. I also like that we got to know a little bit more about the mystery of what happened to Peter Parker's father, and I really liked Dane DeHaan as Harry Osborn, probably a lot more than Electro, which was played by Jamie Foxx in the film. I really wish we could have seen more of him because I thought the scene between him and Peter were terrific. I really liked the sort of villainy touch that Harry Osborn had in the film. But Electro I thought was a little bit of a disappointment for me because I found the character to be not as interesting as Harry Osborn. Sometimes he could be a little bit cartoonish, especially when before he becomes Electro, he came across as this sort of nerdy character that was more like a caricature rather than a fully developed character. I would have liked it if we could have focused a little bit more on Harry Osborn. Like I said, I do agree that this movie was a little bit overstuffed and it's not as good as the first film, but I really liked that it was a well-acted, character drama. I thought the dialogue was mostly well-written. I thought the action scenes were improved, and I really liked the relationship Peter had with, Harry Osborn and his girlfriend Gwen Stacy. And I can't wait to see what happens next. There's supposed to be a Sinister Six film, and there's supposed to be more Spider-Man movies coming up, so we'll see where this goes. Number 8 on my list of the best movies of the summer blockbuster season was Oculus, starring Karen Gillan as a woman who buys a mirror that, let's just say, had something to do with her past. It was a horror movie, and she gets it, and she plans on destroying it. When I first saw the trailers for this movie, I thought it was just going to be a retread of old, cliches of horror movies, mirrors dripping blood and kids talking in ghostly voices and stuff. But in the end, I thought I ended up getting a somewhat very well acted and sometimes chilly horror movie. Now, was this movie as scary as the scariest movie of all time? It was not, but what I liked about it was the format. The movie switches storylines and time passages between the characters. We see them as kids and we see them as adults, and when it changes format, sometimes it could be like a week before, it could be 10 years ago, and I really liked how they did it this way, because if you had done it straightforward, I think it would have gotten a little bit too expository. But I really liked the format that they did with it. And there's some shots where you'll see an older version going up the stairs of the house, and then the younger version comes down to transition into the past. I really liked how that was done too. I think this really helped me understand what was going on in the story and it kept me in suspense with what was going on as we learned some new things as it went along. I really liked the cast, especially Karen Gillan as Kaylee, and I think because of her expressive eyes, you wonder if this person, is telling the truth or if she just, lost it. I also like the actors who played the kids. I really didn't care too much for the guy that played the older brother, Benton. No, his name's Tim. He's played by Brenton Fates. I felt like he wasn't really given, too much to do here. But nonetheless, I really had fun guessing at what was going on, what was real, what was not real. It was like in addition to being a horror movie, it was also like a mystery. You were learning things as the character and you were trying to piece them together as you were watching. I really appreciated that this movie was trying different things and to kind of, be a little bit challenging, to me, the viewer. This was an amusing film, and I don't think it was as good as the first one, and I did kind of warm up to this movie since I first saw it. When I first saw this movie, if you watch my review, I originally gave it a rent it on DVD rating, but I have kind of warmed up to it. I really like that this movie satirized Hollywood's idea of sequels, including studios giving the movie more money, and basically the sequels can be retreads of the first film. I really thought that Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill really had their working chemistry together still. The cast also had some pretty good performances, including Ice Cube, who plays their boss. I thought he had the best moments in the movie. I did not feel it had the same comedy content as the first film, and I did get tired of the joke that, we did this in the first film. Oh, we did? Well, let's do it again. It was funny in the beginning, and it did kind of wear out its welcome as it went on. But nonetheless, I thought it was amusing. I thought it had some funny moments. I liked the smart points it tried to make, and I also liked the closing credits in the movie. Number 6 on my list is Draft Day, a comedy drama where we spend a whole day with Kevin Costner's character, Sonny Weaver, getting a football team picked. It combines suspense with smart, dry humor dialogue and the film's insider look on the whole process. Costner gives a credible performance as the stressed-out Sonny Weaver, Jennifer Gardner plays his assistant, and Frank Langella plays the egotistical owner, focusing on selling tickets to upcoming games. What's the different stories that feature Sonny all tie in together? You have players or their agents calling Sonny to keep them in mind. You see the background deals, and you also see various staff disagreements. I really like the editing of this movie. It was done almost like in a comic book style, where sort of like a split film, where, for example, if two characters are talking to each other on the phone, you would see the one, and suddenly it would kind of split, and you would see the other character. Sometimes they would be almost facing each other, and it would be two continuous shots. I think if they had cut back and forth to the characters on the phone, I think it would have been a little bit boring and repetitive, but I liked how creative this film did with its editing. I thought it was a very well-acted drama with a lot of suspense and humor. Is The Edge of Tomorrow, which was Tom Cruise's latest science fiction picture. I thought it was a big improvement over his last sci-fi film, Oblivion. And I was really surprised to find it to be more than just an action-oriented film. It tried to be a smart science fiction film about war and its aftermath on soldiers. It contains, I think, Cruise's one of his better performances. It kind of his con artist character kind of reminded me of the one that he played in Few Good Men back in 1992. And I also thought Edge of Tomorrow had a very good supporting cast. He and Emily Blunt have very good rapport together. They are fighting the film's enemies, and I felt they didn't really have much of a chemistry together, but I thought they came across more as people wanting the same goal, which is, to wipe out these aliens and, stop them from invading, Earth. I really didn't think that the romantic chemistry here really worked very well. Unlike a lot of other blockbusters, the action scenes were not there just to show off. They were integrated into the story very well, and also I thought the movie was very reminiscent of what soldiers go through in real life. The director did not have the characters do the same exact thing every time, which I appreciated. I thought that Edge of Tomorrow could have been a little bit shorter. I thought it had a very good beginning and a very good ending, but the middle could be a little bit repetitive and monotonous, especially when Blunt's character is trying to train Cruise. But nonetheless, I really did like Edge of Tomorrow. I thought it was more than an action movie. I thought it was very character-oriented, and I thought it featured very good performances. Number 4 on my list is The Guardians of the Galaxy, which I thought was a fun thrill ride. It was full of fun performances from the leading characters, great action scenes, a great classic rock soundtrack, and a lot of hilarious moments. I really liked how the characters played off each other. They could be sarcastic, they could annoy each other, but nonetheless, I think in the end they all cared about what was going on and wanted to prevent, any terrible aftermath from happening. I really liked all the performances, especially Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, and I thought Bradley Cooper, who did the voice of Rocket, was also a standout from the film. I thought Rocket really stole the movie from everybody. I really thought that he was very hilarious. But the problem that I had with Guardians of the Galaxy were the villains. I thought that Ronan, played by Lee Pace, was very one-dimensional, and Thanos, who appeared in the credits for the Avengers, I thought that he really wasn't really a sort of threatening presence. I think maybe as the Marvel series go on and we start to feature more of this character, perhaps we will see more of that. Also, Karen Gillan, who plays Ronan's sidekick, I felt like she wasn't right for the part. I think she was casted in this movie because her star is on the rise. But I thought there were also, another problem I had with Guardians was there were a lot of characters and places to keep track of, and it's all kind of thrown at you at the beginning. But nonetheless, I thought the action scenes really had me on the edge of my seat. I thought the movie was very exciting to watch. I had never read or heard of the Guardians before this project was announced, but I think, except for you won't get too lost with this movie, it was definitely a fun, exciting movie at this summer. It's a sequel/revamp of the X-Men series that blends the cast from the regular X-Men films from a decade ago and the prequel, X-Men First Class. I think it's definitely one of the better X-Men films. I think that if this movie had been handled wrong, it could have gone really bad, but I don't think it had. I thought it was a very exciting, smart, suspenseful film, and a very thought-provoking film that touches on issues that I think audiences could see parallels in real life. I thought it had excellent visuals, and the shots, especially in the beginning, helped tell the story, and it had very relevant images. I thought it was full of exciting performances, especially James McAvoy as young Professor X and Evan Peters as the fun, quirky Quicksilver. It does have some inconsistency with the other films, and I did kind of find the twist ending to be somewhat of a cop-out, but it was, in my opinion, I thought it was one of the better entries in the series. I thought it was very well acted, I thought it had plenty of thrilling action, and I thought it was very well shot and written. I thought this was definitely a huge improvement over the first film, and it's a conspiracy thriller in what, in the style of what John Voight and Robert Redford used to do back in the 1970s. It takes place in the present in a somewhat realistic setting with current events, which I found relevant. And I found this film to be very unpredictable. That's one of the things I liked about it. I liked that there were so many twists and turns. I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know what was going to happen or the direction that it would take. And what I liked about the format of this movie was that each scene builds up as Captain America and Black Widow learn new information that leads to a very big climax at the end of the film. Captain America the Winter Soldier, I thought, had dramatic camera work and lighting. I really liked seeing Captain America struggle to adapt to this new modern-day life, and the character is definitely much more complex here than he was in the first Avenger. Scarlett Johansson, I think this is her best performance as the Black Widow, and we got to explore her character more. I really love these two characters' dialogue scenes together, and I also liked Robert Redford's performance as the head of security. I thought Captain America the Winter Soldier was a smarter, more complex film, and definitely unpredictable. And now, what was, in my opinion, the best movie of summer 2014? Drumroll please. The answer to that is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. This movie was a sequel to Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and I definitely thought it was much better than that film. Dawn combines terrific visual effects, well-acted performances from both the actors playing the humans and the apes, and a relevant story that people can relate to. I like that we got to spend equal time with both of the species, and so that we could see parallels between the tension between the two, and we can definitely see where they are coming from. For example, Caesar, who's the leader of the apes, trusts the humans than his second-in-command does, and on the human side, Malcolm wants to keep peace between the humans and the apes, while some of the other human characters feel, untrust. I think the success of the credibility of the apes, looking very realistic, I think not only must be shared with the actors, but with the, for creating the expressions, but through the motion capture, but also the visual artists. The film has very dramatic battle scenes as well as nice quiet moments with the characters. I think the film touches on, prejudice, hatred starting hatred, cultural misunderstanding, war, and its unfortunate aftermath. The movie stood out for me this season because it was an emotional journey. It combines with, smart, challenging story with blockbuster special effects that complement the story as opposed to, just showing off for the hell of it. There's metaphors for relations in other parts of the world, and I definitely found the characters to be relatable. Alright, so that's my list of the movies that I thought were the best of the summer. So let me go through it again. Number 9, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Number 8, Oculus. Number 7, 22 Jump Street. Number 6, Draft Day. Number 5, The Edge of Tomorrow. Number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 3, X-Men, Days of Future Past. Number 2, Captain America, The Winter Soldier. And number 1, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Alright, that's my review, or actually alright, well that's my video on the summer blockbuster season. I am now going to get ready to do my video on what I thought were the 5 disappointing movies of the summer. In the meantime, if you want to post your list of what you thought were the best movies of this summer, go right ahead. Also, if you disagree or agree with parts of my list, go ahead and put it down. I can't wait to see what you write. Thank you very much for watching.